What's Trending, presented by Tim Daly Nissan, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. BYU, after one weekend of college football, has jumped in the favorite category from 34.5-point favorites to 43.5-point favorites against Portland State. This because Tarleton State absolutely took it to the Vikings 42-0. So 43.5, that's a big number from odds makers, though BYU is at home.
Is it?
And the Vikings looked like a high school football team, just calling it how I saw it. Does that number feel too high, too low, or is it just right, given that week zero result?
Give me that 43.5 porridge, Spence, based on that question. Yeah, no, BYU by a million. No, no, Portland State looked terrible. I believe BYU, even though it's going to be a vanilla with some sprinkles version of BYU if it's ice cream. They're not going to show a ton. I expect BYU to run the ball a lot. I don't expect them to pass a ton. Somewhere in the 20s, definitely not in the 30s. You're going to use 4 or 5 running backs in this game, plus Bear. Yeah, give me BYU by 50 or 60. Now, traditionally what Kalani Sitake does is he's a good dude. He has great sportsmanship. He doesn't keep that pedal down super hard in the late third, early fourth if they're up 40+. I do hope, though, that BYU is more than 1.5 points better than Tarleton State, who won 42-0. So I'm hoping for at least a jersey's worth for Bear of points for BYU, if not, 50 or 60. And just real smooth, injury-free, get Bear the experience that he needs, but also, in the spirit of A-Rod, don't show a ton. That way Stanford doesn't know what's coming. And they just lost, too. We'll talk about them in a sec. Yeah, give me BYU by 50 or 60. Come on, they'll cover this.
The number feels appropriate, and frankly,
it can be higher.
I want more. I want BYU to win this game by 7 touchdowns and 7 extra points, by 49. Like, BYU should score 50+, and I hope they don't give up more than a field goal, maybe a garbage touchdown late in the game, but win this game like at least 56-7, right? I know that there's something to be said about, well, Portland State didn't score any points against Tarleton State.
They missed a 30-something yard field goal with less than a minute left. They should have scored.
Yes.
They hit the field goal post in the first half on a field goal.
Brutal.
So they should have had at least 6.
Yeah. I want a 49-point win. I want BYU to score in the 50s, if not the 60s, and just work out all of the bugs in the system, get Bear Bachmeier feeling good in front of an actual opponent. I know this is not the most challenging game, but it's still his first opponent.
It's the perfect first game.
Yes, the whole first.
I don't want a good FCS team.
3 games.
I don't want a G6.
Are a great way to start for him.
I don't want a Power 4. I don't want to play in Ireland for sure.
Oh, man. I
want this game. This is the perfect first game for Bear Bachmeier.
I hope BYU is up by 40+ at halftime. Legitimately, at least 35-0.
And that it's boring in the second half. You're just seeing runs, non-exotic runs.
And they can just work out
little play action passes.
Little things. Regular, boring things to try and solidify some position groups and different play calls that they're not show them, but just set things up for the weeks to follow.
Yeah, you can chuck it. Sometimes we're not saying don't be explosive. We're just saying, don't reveal the good stuff. Which, by the way, you know what's not vanilla? Vikings. Did you ever watch that on History Channel? That was a fun show. That was good. But it should be interesting. Yeah, I expect BYU to cover this and to look great and for us to prepare for Stanford mentally in the second half.
We will ask Trevor Matich later in the program if this is the game where he finally admits that BYU can sleep on the opponent a little bit.
Yeah. Early in the show's history, he told us, now, don't sleep on Idaho State, to which we thought, wait, sorry, what? But we didn't know Trevor like we know Trevor now. Now we can give him a hard time, It's been like 13 years. Let's go. He's our boy. Yeah, so there's that, Portland State. Okay, we had other opponents playing week 0, which was really fun. Typically, it's like 0 opponents that play in week 0. We had 3, so BYU had Stanford play. They lost to Hawaii on a walk-off field goal, 23-20. And then Iowa State beat Kansas State in Dublin in really great field conditions.
Oh, what? Man.
24-21.
Just porous field conditions.
What did you learn from those 2 other results?
Let's start with Iowa State and Kansas State. One, it is really difficult to have to play that week 0 game in international territory.
Do you want BYU to play something like that in the future?
With Big 12 context, no. If BYU were playing a non-conference opponent in
Let's
that
say it was
game,
North Carolina.
great, fine, yeah, whatever.
NC State.
Totally different. I do not like the conference tie-in to that game that early in the season.
Too important.
I hate it.
K-State's behind the 8 ball now.
I hate it for Kansas State because now they are like, yes, they're climbing a mountain. Even they finished tied with Iowa State in the standings. Well, see ya. Too bad.
They'll pull a BYU in Colorado last year. It's like,
I don't mind the idea of BYU playing in a game like that as long as it's non-conference.
And I don't want it week 0 or 1. I know that Dublin specifically will be week 0 because it's so far away.
Yeah.
But if BYU ever plays in Mexico City or whatever.
What did I learn from the game? Iowa State is really well coached. Again, that was just solidified in my mind.
Oh, I was going to say, you didn't know that?
Like they are, but I thought, well, they lost their top 2 receivers. They lost their top 2 offensive linemen. What's that offense going to be able to do? I know they got a really solid quarterback, but he doesn't have the weapons around him like he usually does. They made it work. Their play calling late in the game was chef's kiss.
4th down, they didn't kick to make it a 6-point game, which is smart.
2 critical 4th down conversions.
4th and 3 in the red zone.
Iowa State is so well prepared and so well coached again, and they're going to be a problem for BYU in late October on their home field in Ames.
We hope that BYU continues to be Iowa State and Kansas State-esque in their consistency, in their discipline, but with more talent. I think BYU is recruiting at a higher level right now than, well, they ever have, and more than those programs. But I respect those programs a ton. When we came into the league, I thought, can BYU beat Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State's on the fritz right now. You want to be like Iowa State and Kansas State every year, 8 or 9 wins or better, competing for a conference championship. That game was absolute garbage. The field conditions were terrible, million turnovers. DJ Giddens gets hurt on the first, kickoff return? He turns his ankle. He can't be out there. That affected the K-State run game quite a bit. They limited pass game for both. Week 0 game, I don't take away hardly anything because it's early. It's one game. It was an international game, which is crazy. So good for Iowa State. Congrats. But I do not take away a ton. It's going to be a different Iowa State team in the middle of the year when BYU sees them in the back half.
Ames is – BYU fans keep asking me, like, if I want a college football experience, to me there are 2 clear answers here if you want to go on a road trip. It's Ames or it's Lubbock. Lubbock is unique, right, is unique. But Ames, 59,000 fans fit into Jack Trice Stadium. Like, that's a big-time college football environment. And so I'm anxious to see what BYU can do at that place.
Yeah, and that's a million years from now.
I know.
Stanford, by the way, didn't look good.
Stanford is what I thought they were.
Yes. When you have an interim head coach from March 31st to now, Frank Reich, granted, Frank Reich, a lot of NFL experience as a play caller. Like, no one's questioning his experience. But when Andrew Luck is getting every cutaway in the press box, you don't have stars. Like, on the field, with your team, they are depleted.
Yeah.
And BYU should be happy about it because that's why Bear Bachmeier's here, because they fired Troy Taylor. So Stanford wants to establish Stanford stuff. Dominate possession. They did. They only ran for 109 yards and 3.6 yards per carry. That wasn't good enough. 1 for 4 in the red zone with touchdowns. Hawaii's quarterback, Amato, who gets the ball out quick.
Micah Alejado?
Yeah, Alejado, thank you. 5'10", 180, smaller guy.
Bishop Gorman kid.
Yeah, Vegas kid, bum ankle or foot. He can't even move, and they still couldn't, drop 8 and just defend. I was shocked that on that final drive they gave up the walk-off field goal. Stanford, to me, does not look good. That is what we expected. BYU's got to be 2-0 after Portland State and Stanford.
Going into that bye week, Stanford has an okay running back. His name's Micah Ford.
Yeah.
He runs hard, but
he
you stop the run, and Stanford has next to nothing that they have available on offense.
Good tight end and Sam Roush. He had 3 catches for 6 yards. I mean, what? 3 for 6? They're just throwing to him on 3rd and 1, trying to get the first down.
BYU will be probably a 12 to 14-point favorite against Stanford, if not more. On their home field. That's what I learned and was reconfirmed.
Yeah.
I honestly wanted to see Stanford win that game just to give them something, just some juice. Like, I don't know. Like, it always makes me feel a little bit weird if the team limps in maybe you take them too lightly, but I don't think this BYU team will do that. I think they're too disciplined and too well coached.
Well, I ain't scared of Stanford. Sorry.
They'll play hard, but they just don't have the horses to go.
Nerd Nation will be here. Like, we respect Stanford quite a bit. Yeah, they've taken some dudes over the years in recruiting, and BYU got a couple too. BYU has 7 or 8 dudes on the roster that either were committed or were heavily involved with Stanford. You got Bear Bachmeyer, Tiger Bachmeyer, Finau, Tuakoi, Nusi Tamuepeo, Clegg. You got all kinds of guys. Yeah. Notably Bear. He was there in spring. Bear was literally there 3 months ago on campus.
Wild.
Now he's BYU's quarterback.
If we are summarizing what we learned in these games, Jarom, I would say this. BYU needs to absolutely pummel Portland State. They need to blow out Stanford on their home field, be 2-0 going into the bye week, and then that game in late October against Iowa State looks like it is going to be a doozy between the Cougars and the Cyclones.
Which is what we thought.